Hello everyone, Bridget Casey with Bridget Casey Designs here today for ScrapbookPal.com. So today I'm super stoked to be able to share with you the Magnolia set from Pinkfresh Studio, and it's a trio of products I have. So I have the stamp set, which you just saw. I have the die set, which is a single die that cuts all those pieces. And then we have the stencil, which is a 5-piece stencil, which will help us fill in the color on those beautiful floral and leaves that are in the set. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. And I made a mistake early on, which is always good. I should have used the die when I put my stamp down. I got a little distracted because usually I only do that when there are stems or fiddly bits, but just so it would have lined up perfectly, I should have done that. So just a word of caution for you at home. And then I'm using the Pinkfresh Studio Detailed Black ink to stamp out my images. This will give me a nice crisp look. I did have another error. This was kind of a project of follies tonight, which seems to be about right. So my next error comes to be right here. And so taping it down, of course, there's no error, but I should have heat set this ink really quick. It said quick drying and I'd never used this ink before. And so I went with it, and it is quick drying, just not as quick as I was tonight, and I don't get to say that very often. So I do have my blending tool there, and I have my Peach Fuzz ink from Pinkfresh, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lay down the first layer. And the great thing about this is, as you can see, it just shows the pieces that you're going to ink blend. So you don't have to worry about getting extra ink in places you're not supposed to. And you saw me look at my blending tool just a moment ago, and the reason I did that is my black ink smeared a little bit. So I was just making sure that it had not gone onto my blending tool, and I was smearing it as I was going on. It was just a matter of smearing that ink that had not yet dried in my floral. But I decided to go with it because it wasn't very obvious, so I went with it. So the next ink that I'm using is from Pinkfresh as well, and this is Misty Coast, which is a really pretty gray, and I really love the combo of like an orangey peach color and grays. And I think sometimes when we think of grays and flowers, we don't think of gray flowers. So I just wanted to kind of push the envelope a little and kind of share a favorite color combo that I have and I love to use with you guys. So now we're going to put the layer on the florals with apricot ink from Pinkfresh Studio. I am using the same blending tool. I'm just cleaning it off on a microfiber cloth that I have off to the side. And I just love, I almost wish I would have used the apricot as my base color and then use the next color up. I love the color of this. It's just such a gorgeous, gorgeous, stunning color. But that's okay. There's always a next time in crafting, correct? And I fell for it. I was so used to stencils that you had different parts to fill in. And so I started to ink blend on the flower, and there was nothing there to ink blend. So silly girl, silly, silly girl. And this is Rocky Slope by Pinkfresh. So now everything's colored. I didn't go ahead and I did not do the branches because I wasn't going to use those. And this is where I'm struggling a bit because I did not line up my stamp with that die right out of the gate. I'm a little off on a couple of things, but what I decided after fiddling a bit was that if I just made the pieces that I wanted the focus of my die cut, meaning really pay attention to the pieces that I was going to use, and some other pieces, if they were a little off, it's okay. But it actually cut a lot better than I thought it was going to. So I'm showing you there, I used the angled mosaic to emboss a piece of white cardstock that's over to my right. Now on a scrap, I am stamping the You Are Capable with the Pinkfresh Detail Black ink again. And then now it's time for us to put our card together. At this point, I had no idea what we were doing. I knew I wanted to use that big, beautiful floral, and I wanted to use some leaves, of course. And so I've got foam tape on the back end on my fingers, and and here, so I wanted to use the You Are Capable, and I was just deciding kind of the placement of that, and finally I liked that down there. And I knew I wanted to add a dark cardstock around the back, so my panel that I embossed was 4 by 5 1/4. So I like that arrangement there. I like my leaves, I like everything. It's kind of in a diagonal, which I generally like. And then I decided if I wanted the sentiment strip to run off the card panel onto the black cardstock, but I didn't. So I just pulled off that piece of masking paper, or the backer to my foam, shall we say. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use some Tombow permanent adhesive here, and I'm going to add this leaf cluster to my panel, and then I'm trying to figure out which way I wanted it. So there we go, and just adhere that down, and then go ahead and add the other cluster of leaves up there. And then I'm trying to get it so I can get it up in there without my fingers getting in the way. And then I was like, well, do I want to pop that up? I had a lot of questions as I went through this project. But I hope that you'll see that, you know, projects, even though you start with one way, it may not end up that way, and that's okay. And silly, I lined it all up and then I looked and there are lines on my embossing. So sometimes, I tell you, I make things a little bit more complicated. So here I'm going to put this black on the black, and then I'm showing it to you on the white so you could really see that black mat and how that pops the floral out. And thank you so much for watching. Head on over to the ScrapbookPal.com channel and make sure to subscribe. We can't wait to see you for another crafty adventure. Have a great day.